Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I'm here with my friend Baby Cthulhu. He's gonna keep me company here because I wanted to come on. There are a couple things I wanted to talk about. One was just a couple of issues I'd had with my autism recently. Also, why the WoW videos have all of a sudden stopped, and also why my video content hasn't been out as regular as it has been, and a little bit of why I'm even doing videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So he's here to keep me company because some of this stuff is difficult for me to talk about. Um, but I just kind of want to focus on that. So let's jump right into it. So I've mentioned a couple times, I think, in some of my videos that I have autistic spectrum disorder, or ASD, and that specific label's kind of new with the brand new DSM that came out. It's the diagnostic manual that people use for all sorts of mental diseases and disorders, things like that. Um, what I have used to be called Asperger's, which is someone who has autism but is higher functioning than some people. I'm very blessed in the sense that I can kind of I can in some ways I can have a more normal life than people who are really affected by, well, not really, because I really am, but I mean who are affected by autism to a much greater extent than I am. In fact, uh, for the for most of my life, I did not know that I had autism autistic autism spectrum disorder, or autistic spectrum disorder. Sorry, like I said, this is so. I mean, I knew that there was something kind of weird going on with me, but I'd never been diagnosed, and part of that is because of my age. I'm just on the cusp of when they started to see higher functioning uh, autism, um, and yeah. Okay. Uh, so basically, the whole reason that I'm bringing this up is because one of the things about having autism is that, and when I talk about it, I'm going to talk about it from my perspective specifically because that's all that I can speak to. I have been officially diagnosed. I mean, I see a therapist that specializes in people with autism, and it took a few years to get diagnosed, but I was diagnosed officially. So, um, is that anyway? I was getting back to the main one of the main difficulties that people with autism have is um, is what is labeled as special interests. Um, and for me, they're obsessions, honestly. Obsessions on the level of sometimes reaching the level of OCD, where I just can't help myself. And one of my obsessions is video games. It always has been ever since I was a young kid. When my dad bought my sister an Atari, back when you could buy those brand new. Yes, that's how old. That's how old I am. Um, but I was really young kid, so I'm not that old. I'm just old. Um, and it playing those games, solving puzzles, riddles, things that have complex problem solving, things like that. Engaging in those things has always given me a sense of calm. It's been a way for me to cope with some of the difficulties that I've had with social interaction and existing in a world where I have a really hard time understanding things like body language and facial expressions, and knowing whether or not someone who's talking to me, if what they're saying is what they mean, or if there's some hidden message in there that I can't pick up on. And anyway, I could go into it. That's for another video. The basic premise that I'm trying to get to is that because one of my obsessions has been video games, WoW has been one that's been central ever since it came out. And I recently started playing it again. I first wanted to do it because I thought, well, maybe it would be something that's good on the channel, because there's a new expansion that's coming out, and so maybe people would enjoy watching it, things like that. I mean, I enjoy playing it, so what's the problem, right? The issue is that it was getting to be too much. I was playing too much. I was playing nonstop. I was playing to the point where I wasn't even recording anymore. And I wasn't able to... I felt myself starting to lose control. And I've learned that when I sense that feeling, I have to stop whatever it is that I'm doing. Because I'm not just a single guy that is independently wealthy and can do whatever I want. Certainly not independently wealthy. I'm not even close. I mean, me and my family struggle. And I have a family. I have a wife, and I have 3 kids. And so with that comes responsibilities that I can't avoid, because, not to get too overly dramatic, but because there are children involved, there's people's lives that are at stake. I mean, I'm responsible for these kids, so I have to adult up in instances like that. And so I can't play WoW right now. I wish that I could, but I can't. It takes up too much time, and so those videos will be stopping for now. And that also comes to kind of the third thing I wanted to talk about, which is why I'm even doing videos on YouTube to begin with. Over the past 5 years, 6 years or so, being a content creator has become a viable choice to have as a career, as a job, as a way to fund and support yourself, if it's something that you love to do. And I love video games so much. I love talking about them. I love theorizing about them. I love making fun of myself and making jokes and stuff like that. And so I kind of thought to myself, I wonder if this is something that I can do. And for those of you that follow the culture around autism and autism research, probably recognize the name Temple Grandin. She is very famous because she has ASD, and in her lifetime learned to deal with it when really not even autism was a diagnosable disease. I mean, this was back, I think, in the 50s and 60s, maybe, when she was learning how to deal with that. And she, without really any support, learned to support herself to get through college and do what she loved, which was designing pens for cattle to be herded into when they were being raised, milked, things like that for farms, and to do it in such a way that was actually something that the cattle liked more, would help calm them down and keep them from struggling and things like that. And she did it because of how she helped calm herself when she would had to deal with anxiety. And she got very famous at it, became the best in her field, and eventually got to the point where she started doing seminars and talks about autism. And one of the main things that she talks about is that for people who are on ASD, because finding work, steady work, is difficult when you have autism. Again, that could be a whole video in and of itself. But one of her main proponents is that if you find work that follows your passion, you're going to succeed, because that obsession, that passion, is going to drive you to succeed. And so I've been thinking about it for a couple of years now, and my wife is a beautiful, wonderful woman who has stuck with me through finding out about my autism and learning how to try and handle it in such a way that keeps our family together. And she has joined me to try and see if this is something that I could do. Now, obviously, I can't just make myself a content creator on YouTube that does videos about video games and becomes really popular. I don't believe that's how this works. I think that really the only way that's going to happen is if I put myself out there and other people decide that they enjoy my content and that they want to build a community with me, to kind of watch me and play with me and engage. I see this, hopefully, if it, with your guys' support, I see this as something where we can affect some positive change in the autistic culture, where we could do charity events or even just AMAs. I mean, if people have questions for me and stuff like that, or even anyway, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I love doing this. I genuinely do. And I'm probably going to do this in some fashion or another, even if it doesn't become something that I'm able to do full time. But that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for. And I can't do that unless people out there deem me as someone that they want to support to do that. And so, anyway, all of that being said, I'm going to start doing regular content again, and really pushing to just try and see if people enjoy me and how I do things and what I do. It's going to be maybe a little bit different just because of my autism, but I want to try and genuinely do something and create an atmosphere where people feel like they can fit in. That's the whole reason for me with the puzzle face. For autism, puzzle pieces are kind of like the symbol of what it is to be autistic, because having autism, you feel like you should fit in, but you feel like you're oddly shaped and you can't fit in. And so in my mind, everybody on this earth we're all just a piece of this larger puzzle, trying to find a place to fit in. And I feel like I want to create a place where, regardless of how odd you feel, you can fit in with us, which is why I always say, hey, all my puzzle pieces, because we're all trying to find a place to fit in. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it short there. So yeah, no more WoW videos for now. I may put out some other videos just about autism and how I try to deal with it and how it's changed things. But I think that those will come in later videos. I hope this has provided some background on things and maybe some understanding of kind of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, that kind of thing. And for everyone that does watch my videos and comments and supports and subscribes, thank you so much. You have no idea what that means to me. And please, I'm not trying to guilt people into subscribing for me. That's not my goal. Do it only if you enjoy it, honestly. Because I want to have a community that's engaged, and that's only going to happen if I'm engaging enough to do that. And if you guys feel that that's the case and you want to kind of spread the word, and I really just want to build a positive place where people feel like they can fit in and we can talk about stuff openly like this. So anyway, thanks all you guys for watching, and as I always say, I will see all of you in the next video. Bye bye.